control takes energy, even when you're not even thinking about it. Like a lot of this stuff is really unconscious for us, these unconscious drivers. You know, you could be upset or offended or hurt, whatever it is. These are normal human feelings. Accept them. They're okay. If you really want to grow, if you want to fully, you know, maybe not even fully, but bring more of yourself, more potential, more of you to the game.
Hey guys, it's Linh Podetti here, founder of Outsourcing Angel, a virtual assistance company, and I'm also the co-founder at Dawn Media Productions, which is a video marketing agency. I'm here to help you build a business that gives you more free time to spend with your loved ones. Now in this video, you will meet Kristi Russell, a trusted advisor to leaders and executive coach to women in leadership. We talk about how to be an unconditional leader, which is how to develop the ability to let go of control and allow you to flow more in your business and life. Because when we can manage our need to control, we will be able to grow our business with grace. Now let's hear the tips that Kristi has for us today. Hey Kristi, thanks for being on my show today. How are you?
Hi Lynn, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. Beautiful Friday afternoon.
And Kristi, you know, we both met at our little LinkedIn little mastermind group, and every time I read your content, I'm like, oh my God, I have to get you on my show because you just got the goods. You know, when I listen and I read it, I'm like, people need to hear this. And the recent one that I listened to and I really love is really about letting go of control, because I've been there where I really felt like I didn't think I was controlling, but I was trying to control the outcome, and I was feeling negative about it, and I kind of was like, you know, I wanted things to happen my way. Otherwise, I was just anxious, right? And I think a lot of people are probably experiencing that more right now during this period of time. And, you know, as business leaders as well, we need to really be mindful of that and learn the tips on letting go of control. So take it away. Tell me more about, I guess, why do we feel the need to control as human beings?
Big question. It's human, you know, to want certainty, which is a crazy human trait we've developed, considering there's very little certainty in anything. If you think about it, right? Anything is very little certainty. Not knowing in a very competitive world, you know, in the business world, in the leadership game that I'm in, this is where you read my post is around leaders and leadership and unconditional leadership and letting go and control. It's tough because people grow up in this very competitive space in life, in leadership, in business. This is where we are in Australia in particular, very competitive in our culture. And that leads to sort of this behavior or these fixed ideas that people get that I have to get control. And that might be about being right about something. Who doesn't love being right, right? You know, I should know things. I should know the answers. You know, all this leads to kind of winning, getting out on top, getting out in front. You know, I want to say the best things. I want to sound competent. I want to sound smart. I want to look. I mean, everyone who's listening will know this stuff. This is life. This is business, particularly in the business world. Then what do we do to manage all of that is we take control. We look for control in situations, right? In every situation, without even thinking about it. The scary thing is we don't know we're doing it. And it's not. Look, it's not right, wrong, good or bad. This is not about naming and shaming control. We all have it, want it in some way, shape or form. It shows up differently with everybody, but we've kind of been conditioned into it, which is why I'm always talking about unconditional life, unconditional leadership, being unconditional. Because the more conditions we place on everything outside of us, on situations, people, and when I say conditions, I mean the more we have create these fixed ideas about what we like, what we don't like, what is okay, what's not okay, what should be, what shouldn't be, what feels good, what won't feel good, what I want, what I don't want. You know, the more we do that, the more trouble we're in. So that's control right there. I want to know that I can control everything outside of me so I can feel okay. So there's control. But then this ongoing requirement to meet these conditions, for these conditions, not for you to meet them, for them to meet you, for these outside conditions to meet your needs. a lot of energy and control is required. You know, control takes energy. If we even just talk about energy, control takes energy, even when you're not even thinking about it. Like, a lot of this stuff is really unconscious for us, these unconscious drivers. They're humans. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and they're not right, wrong, good or bad. It's just that the question is, do they serve us? And you answered that question in the first few seconds by saying, oh, it just feels so bad. It feels crap. It's negative. It's not serving us if it feels that way.
So it doesn't feel good. Plus, also, things are sometimes uncontrollable. Like, you can't even do it anyway. So I guess what would be some of the tips to being able to free yourself from this mindset of needing to control?
To know and accept, well, just to accept that I would say there's little, if nothing, outside of you that you can control. Big acceptance piece, big piece of it, growth right there. Except you can't. I mean, what can you control? You think you can. We kind of think we can. I understand why people think they can, but when you really think about that, you can't. From the moment you wake up and step out that door, what are you, apart from yourself and where you go, what you're doing, maybe sometimes you can't even control where you go, what you do, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, everything outside of that pretty much is up for grabs. This is life. This is the uncertainty of it. And so yet we'll put ourselves in a struggle. We'd much rather suffer trying to, you know, put our energy into making that stuff happen the way we want it to so we can feel okay. But there's nothing really outside of you. If people can start to accept that, it's the first tip. Acceptance is the first step down the easier path of life, Lynn. I can acceptance. And it's a hard one for humans. It takes practice. Because what happens when we have a fixed idea of how things should be, right, outside of us, so we can feel okay. So what happens is reality hits, life happens because we can't control it, and that hits that inner stuff because we're holding on to all of that. It's all in here. It's all sitting inside of us, you know, from past experiences and pain and grief and suffering. And we're holding on to it, which is mad as well, because the more you hold on to it, the more it hurts, because reality is going to hit it. You can't stop reality. You can't control it. But yet that's what people are trying to do. So this is why Buddha said life is suffering. All of life is suffering, because people spend their life in fear of losing what they have or not being able to get what they want. So, you know, acceptance. Number one. I'd say secondly is kind of practice this relaxing, like this calm, relaxing idea is underrated. You know, we say stay calm, just relax. You know, how many times? Just relax. It's to relax into the moment.
Is it because if you can accept, though, and you kind of go, you know, it's meant to happen and, you know, the right thing will come, or maybe this isn't meant to be, and you accept it. Relaxing is a lot easier when you accept, right? The next point is relax. Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen if you're not first accepting. The opposite of acceptance is resistance. And when we're in resistance, we're fighting. We're fighting with reality. We're fighting with life. We're fighting with all our fixed ideas that are not, you know, all of a sudden being challenged out there. Yeah, acceptance, and then being present. You know, we talk, that's another underrated concept that we talk a lot about. Yeah, be present, be mindful, blah, blah, blah. Meditation, la, 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 la. I could try and make up other stuff, but the masters of the past thousands of years got it right. It works. So can't relax unless really you can be present. I always say present and relaxed at the same time, be present. Acceptance is, okay, I can accept where I am. And then you've got a greater chance of being present. I'm here. I'm experiencing this. Okay, this is not what I wanted it to be or thought it would be. I'm kind of disappointed. Or, you know, you could be upset or offended or hurt. Whatever it is, these are normal human feelings. Accept them. They're okay. It's okay to have them. We know it's okay to have feelings, but we have to go another step. And this is a really big tip. Be okay with feeling them.
Even if it's negative feelings, just be okay.
With it. It's not going to kill you. Feelings like the weather. They come and go. And I would say that, and this is a really great tip for the good ones and the bad ones, because the bad ones, why do you let them go? Well, clearly they don't feel good, right? Let them go. It doesn't mean we shouldn't experience them. Grief and sadness, happiness, all these things are worthy of experience. We just don't need to set up camp with them.
Mm-hmm.
Once we've experienced them and accepted them and experienced that this is a part of living, being alive, leading, they've done their job.
Mm-hmm.
Let them go. The good and the bad. People go, why the good? The good, I want to hold on to the good. Well, they're right there, holding on, clinging. The good.
Still controlling.
Still control. You're still in resistance. Control is resistance. You're still in it. Just allowing this flow we talk about, letting energy, flow, and relaxing and being calm and centered and present. All this stuff, we hear about it all the time, but it's kind of just goes in and out.
Yeah. And then how do you go from that moment, and how do you elevate? How do you get out of, okay, you might allow yourself to feel present and feeling it might be negative. Okay, what's the next step there? Once
you're okay with it, you can just stay present. You don't have to go into control mode. If you're not okay, you're going to go into, a sense of chaos and wanting to, you're kind of gone then. You're lost. You're in it, right? You're in the drama. Once you've accepted and you're relaxed and you can really understand, be present enough to understand what's happening to you, understanding what's going on makes a big difference. You can only understand it if you really pause for a moment and just go, okay, I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable, rather than looking outside, who's to blame, what's to blame, and going into that and then trying to control it. It's like, what am I not okay about here? What's happening in here? All of this is really about not even controlling, but letting things go so you can choose how you respond. It's a much nicer word than control. Choose. It's so much more choice than we realize.
You talk also about honoring and respecting every moment as a gift and being grateful. Now, tell me about that, because I love gratitude. It really did change my life about 10 years ago. And I definitely think that whenever I'm going through any moment, it just helps to just stop all the negativity, because you're just shifted to gratitude. Yeah.
And so what are you doing when you've stopped all the negative stuff and you're feeling grateful? Isn't that being present? You can't really feel grateful unless you
are in the moment, and now looking
in the moment. Like, I'm in this moment. It's not quite what I wanted or what I thought. So I could choose to be disappointed, or maybe I am disappointed, and that's okay, but I can let that go. Maybe I can just appreciate this moment for what it is. To have this sort of attitude, if you like, attitude of gratitude, I like to call it, of being, in awe and curious about every moment. If you choose that attitude from the moment you wake up, then you will be present, far more present, to really fully appreciate and experience what's happening, whether it's, what you wanted or didn't. And isn't that better than going somewhere or in a situation where you find out this is not what I wanted?
Yes.
Pay for this. I expected something else. Well, okay, spend the next hour or so, or 2 hours, maybe even a whole day at a conference, being seriously crapped off and offended and negative and disappointed and angry about it. Go for it. I like when the Buddhists say anger is like swallowing poison and hoping the other person dies.
Yes.
It really just hurts you.
That's you.
You choose that. Right. You want to choose suffering, choose it. Otherwise, choose again.
Yeah. I can give you a real example here where, for example, this week I was working with a client, and I kind of, obviously when they hire you, it's because you have the expertise, but they kind of going back to what they want to do, which you don't think it's a good idea, let's say. And then although you go, hey, I don't think that's a good idea because this is what I think is good for you. And they're like, no, but I know what I want, and this is what I want, right? And so, of course, there's that moment of wanting to control it to the way you think is best for them, coming from a good intention here. But I had to learn to go, but that's okay. At the end of the day, if they're happy, I have to let that go and give them what they want and let them have their own journey of going, okay, well, that doesn't work, but at least you've said your piece, right? Is that an example of where you had to kind of step back? And even if it's like, when they say you see your children making mistakes and you don't want them to, you're like, I can see that. But unfortunately, you have to accept allow them to go through the journey, even if it's hard.
For sure. Look, allowing is the opposite of resistance. It's the opposite of control. Allowing, letting. I always say to people, when people start coaching with me, the first thing I say is we're going to exchange the word TRY with LET. This try. It's like this, try, and then there's let. Look at the difference. Try.
Yeah.
And it's these are
Let it be. Oh, yes. It's just feels good.
I know, and look, people, can get this sort of cynical idea in Australia. We're very cynical about, oh, yeah, let's just sit on a rock and meditate all day. Look, it's not all or nothing. As much as you want to really explore yourself and life and leadership and work, everything, it's all the same, really. It's all here for us. We don't have the control we think we do. Moments unfold anyway. Life unfolds. The great universe outside of us, these moments unfold anyway. They're not really listening to us. So this also doesn't mean, getting back to Kristi, I head a 40,000 person company. I can't sit on a rock meditating all day. We're not saying don't do the work, don't have the goals and get on with stuff and make things happen and create things and build wonderful businesses. And we're not saying don't do that. I'm not saying don't do that. Do all that. But this with a foundation of, is it a foundation with a foundation of, or a mindset or attitude, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. There's no really hard and fast rules. In fact, it's the rules that get us in trouble.
Yeah, sometimes too much rules and boundaries we set for ourselves.
We imprison ourselves, and then we get really upset that we're feeling stuck or not meeting the goals or getting the results we want, or not happy, or this exchange with someone, I don't know what's going on, it's not working, it's not vibing, or whatever it is. Or we all kind of know these things, but most people, they're just not quite sure how to change them. And this work, this is kind of simple stuff, Lynn. It's not easy, though. And it does take practice like anything. What Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. I mean, I love that quote, but, maybe not everyone's going to be on about that. I am. If you really want to grow, if you want to fully, maybe not even fully, but bring more of yourself, more potential, more of you to the game. And when I say more of you, and we're always talking about the best of us, we all want to be the best of ourselves. I haven't met someone who says, I don't want to be, thanks. And what is that best? But in any given moment, you have the opportunity to do that. And that is really just to be present. Be. It's not always the doing and the controlling and the having. That can all come, but just be there. As a leader is being. You're being a leader. And so the more you can just really stay in that moment, even or despite the uncomfortable stuff that comes up, despite all the feelings and emotions that could swamp you, and it's okay that they do, because they can, is to still just stay there. You won't die. It's the fighting your way out of it to control it that actually creates more suffering.
Yeah. And do you think also sometimes we exaggerate and think too far and go, oh my God, it's going to be like this, and then kind of like think it's never going to end, it's always going to be this. So our imagination of the worst is kind of
what ifs, the what ifs, the what ifs. Yeah, overthinking what ifs. And this is all fear. I mean, look, a lot of these feelings we have, which are really normal, as I said, they're really human, but they create fear. As soon as we are operating out of fear, life becomes far more problematic.
Yeah.
Leading out of fear, living out of fear, parenting out of fear. I mean, you talked about parenting and clients. Think about unconditional love as a parent. Everyone knows that one. All parents would understand what that is. And that is no matter what the conditions are with your kid, and they could be really, really tough and challenging at times, right? You're not going to take away your love. You might take away toys and technology, phones or, gadgets maybe. I don't know. You can take away stuff, but you don't really want to take away your love, your parenting.
And you're saying that even for leaders, you should have
don't unconditional leadership is, the team's not performing, you're not getting the results you want, the market's in the pandemic, things outside, all this stuff's going on. I can't deal with it. Leaders are human. They're going to experience this. But my whole business and my coaching is set up around this unconditional leadership, is akin to unconditional parenting, I guess, unconditional love in some ways. No matter what's going on, it will not serve you or your people. And leaders are, I believe, unconditional leadership is also about being present and serving. We're all in service.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's catalogues on servant leadership, but it will not serve you or your people or the business and the success of it, closing off your leadership to anybody. And when I say leadership, well, what is that? It's in terms of staying present, respectful, creating environments where people can flourish and thrive and bring the best of themselves and even bring the worst of themselves, being able to handle. You can't have one without the other. And leaders are great when everything's working and they like, what the team's doing. It's usually when it's not happening. It's like pulling back your love as a parent. It's like it's pulling back as a leader.
Yeah.
I don't like, because of this, I don't like what's happening out here. I mean, imagine being able to overcome that as a leader and to stay present no matter what's happening. It doesn't mean you're not going to be perhaps scared, worried, stressed about it, anxious. It's going to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Life in big business. But you don't have to get lost in it and go with it and sort of get involved in the drama that your mind is going through.
Yeah.
It's really just relaxing.
Yeah.
Accepting that this is the moment, this is the experience. Don't have to fight it. I can accept it. Relax into it, breathe, and let go.
Yeah.
And
love it.
Stay present.
Well, love it, Kristi. I guess I just got to wrap up here because we could talk all day because I totally get this feeling, because I'm all about that too. Because I really, I even started a podcast in the past called The Kind Boss, because I really think it comes down to being kind and nice to you, and regardless of what's going on. Yeah, Kristi, I'll be leaving all your details down in the description below so that everyone can connect with you as well. But thank you so much for being on my show today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. Love to hear in the comments below if you have any questions for Kristi or myself around leadership or how to let go of control. And if you'd like to learn more about how to start and grow a business, then check out my next video here.